Poor Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl again.
I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm excited you joined me today because we're going to talk a little football. Now, hang with me just a second. If you're not a football fan, it's okay. Stick with me for a moment. This last weekend was the Super Bowl, and I am a football fan, so just bear with me for a second. This is relevant. Here's the thing. We had two of the best quarterbacks of our generation, really, to play in the Super Bowl. It was anticipated to be one of the best games of the season. Everybody was excited. Two of the best quarterbacks, two of the best teams had actually made it to the Super Bowl. What do you know? Usually, if somebody that is an underdog makes it to the Super Bowl, everybody gives the other team the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes it's a blowout, and you just kind of look at it and you go, well, that's unfortunate. At least they made it that far. But this time, we had the two best quarterbacks. Okay, two of the best quarterbacks. There were a few others that didn't quite make it the whole way. And this time, we expected Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady to come out and really just absolutely have a slugfest, right? We were just looking for him to just kind of go back and forth and everything be great. However, the defenses had something else to say. In this particular situation, the Buccaneers defense had figured out Patrick Mahomes. This time, they weren't having any of it. They were prepared, and they were prepared to deal with it and make the adjustments they needed to. On the flip side, the Chiefs defense, they couldn't quite figure it out. They couldn't quite get the job done. There were lots of other factors to this. And in case you didn't know, the Buccaneers won, right? And as in the intro, it was Tom Brady that came to their team for the first time this year and really made an impact. But was it him that won? No, it was a whole team effort. It was a massive team effort. Now, I'm not a Buccaneers fan. I'm barely a Chiefs fan, but I had to choose somebody to go for. And it was fascinating to watch Tom Brady win his 7th Super Bowl. And think about that, and it is absolutely ridiculous what the man has accomplished. But he couldn't do it without his team. His team stepped up, and really his defensive side of the team, they really were responsible for shutting Patrick Mahomes down. They did a fabulous job, and they just couldn't figure it out on the other side of the ball. Now, what's all this have to do with our podcast? It's simple. Excellence comes with the person. What are you excellent at? Think about Tom Brady for a second. He brought a culture of excellence into the Buccaneers because they were not very good last year. The coach brought them in, and they rallied behind excellence. And this team, maybe, for many people in the fandom of football, thought there's no way they're making it to the Super Bowl. And each step of the way, they proved everybody wrong. Each step of the way, they kept getting better and better, and they kept making the adjustments and the necessary changes. And Tom Brady brought a culture of excellence to his club. He brought a culture of belief to his club. He gave them the idea that they could do it. And I'm sure there were other really key integral people in it, but you look at his history and you go, oh, okay, yeah, he did that. Now, let's take a step back for a second. I was going for the Chiefs. But I can appreciate Tom Brady, and I can appreciate what the team as a whole did to make it that far and to ultimately win. But when you stop and think a little bit about Patrick Mahomes, you think, well, gosh, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He won a Super Bowl last year, and it is incredibly hard to repeat, as proven. And it takes a whole team. The offense behind, or in front of, I should say, Patrick Mahomes had their rough times. They had 2 people injured in the last game, and so they had to shift it all around, and it showed. It showed that they weren't quite ready to be able to take on the task. They weren't quite themselves when they got to the final game. This is challenging. But somehow Mahomes had to figure out how to deal with it. He couldn't quite figure it out, not in the time that was allotted. And he kept having to, struggle his way through. Some people might say, well, that means he's not the best quarterback, although he won a Super Bowl last year, right? So he clearly has the ability. His team wasn't able to quite pull it out. The game wasn't much of a game. It was kind of a beating. And one of the things that I think oftentimes as we move through life, ask ourselves is, well, I was so successful. I knew how to do this. I did this really well. And now all of a sudden, everything's falling apart and I didn't win. I didn't gain the championship. I didn't follow through to the end. Am I a failure? I didn't succeed. I didn't get what I shot out to get. So what would you say to Patrick Mahomes? Made it to the Super Bowl for the 2nd year in a row and didn't quite pull it out. What would you say? What would be your advice to Patrick Mahomes? Well, from the outside, it's super easy to deal with. From the outside, you look at it and you go, my goodness, you're an amazing quarterback. My goodness, you've got some incredible talents to share with the world, let alone your team. So what would you say? Would you say, gosh, he really sucked? No, he doesn't suck. He's pretty good. Would you say, for goodness sakes, it's not your fault, it's the team's fault? Well, they're all together. They would all say, we're in this together. But what would you say to Patrick Mahomes? There's not much to say, because somebody like Patrick Mahomes is a champion. And he's learned along the way, this isn't his first loss. This isn't his first time not meeting the goal that he set out to attain. It's happened before. And what do you think he's saying? What do you think he's doing at the moment? Well, if we know of the best champions and how they operate, then my guess is pretty simple. He'll take a little bit of time off, a little time to reflect, a little time to realign, get centered, fall in love with what he does again, because it does take its toll on any of us that have a shortcoming. And then he'll go back and look at what he can do to get better. He'll look at why it fell apart. He'll figure out what went wrong, and then he'll make the necessary adjustments, and he'll try again, and he'll shoot for it again. There was no doubt that there was much love for both franchises, both quarterbacks, both teams, really. It's just one team didn't quite come out and play the game that they knew how to play. They were a little less than they normally were. They were a little off. But that's all the other team needed. That's all the Buccaneers needed. They just needed to be a little on, and they needed the team they were playing to be a little off. And then they were able to secure it and take it home. Guys, how would this apply to your world? How many times have you set out for a goal? How many times have you done something where you thought to yourself, all right, I got this. And as your championship, in quotes, came and you went to work, whatever that championship is, it could have been anything really. when you fell short, when it didn't quite happen the way you wanted it to happen, how did you handle it? Did you fall to pieces? Did you do what maybe Patrick Mahomes is doing? Take a little bit of time and then get back to work? Or did you quit? Did you walk away? What did you do? I'd love to hear your story, because I'm sure there are some inspiring stories out there that other entrepreneurs need to hear. So feel free to write your story and let us know what it was that you did after your shortcoming, after that miss that you had, after putting everything you had into it, after making it all the way to your Super Bowl. What did you do to get back on top? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear what you're doing, but definitely watch the champions. You know, as you listen to Brady after he had won, as he typically does, he is the consummate champion. He reflected back and he gave credit to his team. That really was a team effort. And he led the way and he was amazing. And for Patrick Mahomes, he probably put it on his shoulders and said, I'll be better next time around. And I guarantee you he will be better next time around. And it'll be fun to watch, to see what he did to take the next steps, not only to get himself better, but to help his team get better. It's not the last we'll see of that quarterback. We'll see him rise to the even more greatness that he's already attained. And we can use them to inspire us to attain our greatness in our thing. It doesn't matter whether it's art or music or dance. It doesn't matter whether it's business. It doesn't matter whether it's politics or writing. Whatever your thing is, don't worry. You're going to have some times where you win the Super Bowl, and you're going to have some times where you fall short. But remember, when you fall short, take a moment to realign, step back, get centered again, find your love for the thing that you do, and then go back and look at it and say, okay, what did I learn? What can I do to take it to the next level? I hope you enjoyed the message today. Guys, I am excited that you're here and so thankful that you're listening. Please, if you know somebody that needs to hear this message today, share it with them. #Magic for Life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us some comments and reviews on the podcast. And we will see you next time. Don't forget to find the magic for life.
Hey lifers, we expect upgrades to the base operating functions of the things like our phones, cars, and even refrigerators. Why then has it not been made a priority that we upgrade the operating systems of our emotional states? We dance around the subject of emotional mastery from a young age. We have so much more knowledge in today's world, yet we're still teaching outdated methods of emotional education, if any are being taught at all. It's time for a change. It's time for an upgrade to our emotional education. Let me help you learn how to do that. Pick up your free copy of Every Minute at everyminutebook.com.